Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to another premiere draft of the Powered Cube on Arena. This is our chance to draft a bunch of cards from the history of Magic instead of just from one particular set. Very fun time with some super explosive decks. Without further ado, let's just get into the draft. We've got a sneak attack here, and we have not managed to draft a sneak attack deck yet this time around. This is a really fun win condition. You get to draft some of these really expensive, really impactful creatures and cheat them into the play early with sneak attack to do a bunch of damage to your opponent, draw a million cards, gain a bunch of life, all kinds of nonsense. Sneak attack, really fun build around, and I do not mind starting the draft off with it since there's no power, like no Moxin or Lotus or anything like that. Pick two, tons of very powerful options here. Ragavan, one of the best aggro cards ever printed. Overlord of the Mistmoors is a fine sneak attack target that'll give us 4 insect tokens. Because we sneak it in, get 2, we attack with it, get 2 more, and those will stick around permanently even if the Overlord dies. So that's a reasonable option. We could also go for something really flexible, like a land such as Prismatic Vista for fixing, or Wasteland for disruption. Those can both fit into a lot of different decks. We could also take some blue cards here, some huge card draw with Stock Up, a great counterspell with Confluence, so a really good pack all around with a ton of ways to go. Kind of want to take some Wasteland stuff here. We haven't done a lot of mana denial. I think that can be pretty fun and exceptionally rude. Pick number 3, Lightning Bolt looks like a great pick for us. If we're going to be red to play a sneak attack, we can also run some really efficient instant speed red removal like Lightning Bolts to use against our opponent's stuff, but we could also play a deck with Channel and Sneak Attack. Green and red is kind of an awkward color pair for a more combo-oriented strategy like a Sneak Attack deck or a Channel deck, but both of these cards could cast a massive like artifact creature or Eldrazi creature for super cheap. One awkward part that I've noticed about Channel, I feel like this is probably just pretty bad overall in the cube this time around. They cut a bunch of the Eldrazi from the cube. So there used to be like Emrakul and Ulamog and stuff like that, and I have not seen them around. I think they got rid of most of the Eldrazi out of this cube, but left the Channel in. So Channel's kind of been nerfed quite a bit this time around. I think because of that, even though they're technically synergistic cards, I'm just going to take the Lightning Bolt and have some cheap removal to go with the Sneak Attack. Although, well, here we go. Natural Order, kind of the better version of Channel now that all the Eldrazi have been cut. This is a way to sacrifice your little mana dork to pull out the biggest green creature in your whole deck and put it right into play. The best option, obviously, being Atraxa for being a giant lifelinker that draws you a whole bunch of cards right when she enters, even if she dies. But there's other great options like World Spine Worm and stuff. They're huge creatures. And the same cards that would be beneficial to tutor out with Natural Order are the same cards that would be excellent to cheat into play with Sneak Attack. So this still feels like a pretty synergistic start. If we didn't want to do the whole cheaty kind of deck here, there's like the Barrowglyph I've been really impressed by. I think I've lost this card a couple times. That thing is really nice for just kind of more fair black-based decks. And then, of course, there's interaction like Grasp and Daze, even Chandra. Pick number 5 now. Avatar Kyoshi seems like a perfectly fine target for Natural Order and Sneak Attack. So that seems like a very reasonable pick to me. We're certainly not going to be a Hellrider kind of red deck if we run the Natural Order Sneak Attack. We're a big red deck. We want cheap red burn, cheap green ramp, and then cheat giant stuff into play. We don't really want a bunch of cheap aggressive creatures that would play well with Hellrider. So let's take Avatar Kyoshi. Pick number 6, Atali is a great sneak attack target, but not able to be fetched off of Natural Order, so it goes down a bit in our pick order. Doesn't go down enough for us to take Sentinel of the Nameless City. Just really solid stat line for the cost. Super good blocker against more aggressive strategies. I feel like this would be really fine filler for a sneak attack Natural Order deck. But Atali's really sick if we sneak attack it out. I'm still going to go Atali over Sentinel, but that's a little bit Close. Pick 7, not a huge fan of any of this. If we play some black fixing, then Terra Sunder could be some interaction for us. Haywire Might is not a green creature to sack. If this were technically green, I might take it, but I think really with Natural Order, the number one best cards you can get are Mana Dorks, Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elves, Birds of Paradise, stuff like that. I'm just going to grab a Terra Sunder here. If we can find a little bit of black fixing. If we play a lot of colors, Territorial Kavu can be okay. Discards card, draws a card every time it attacks, but mainly just, 2 mana, 4/4 or something if you're lucky. It can also shut off Reanimator decks when you're attacking with it. It's competing with 2 different green-red dual lands, though, so it's kind of awkward competition because we definitely want that kind of fixing heavily. I'm just going to grab the fixing. It still feels a little bit replaceable. Lotus Cobra is not a Llanowar Elf for Elvish Mystic style Mana Dork, but still a decent option for a creature to sack to Natural Order. It's still a creature we can play on turn 2, and then on turn 3 play a land, and then Natural Order, because the mana we get out of that landfall trigger. So it still leads to turn 3 Natural Order. Play a Nissa here if we're going to be deep into green. Could also take Kinkerbloom. Some artifact enchantment removal, and just another random creature. We do want a good chunk of 1 and 2 mana creatures just so we have stuff on the board by the time we hit 4 mana for Natural Order. If green's going to be open, though, Nissa is quite a finisher. And again, if green's going to be open, we can find plenty of better 2 mana creatures like Tarmogoyf to Natural Order away. There's straight up original Taiga, the best red-green dual land we could possibly get. Can't really pass that up. If we wanted to, though, we would pass it up for Infernal Grasp out of these cards because we're already potentially trying to splash in black for Terra Sunder. And then here's a green-black duel with Endotha Trio. Here's a Golos. And a Seismic Sense. Pack 2, pick 1. We get Black Lotus, baby. 3 mana of any color for free. That can be a turn 1 sneak attack, although not quite the mana to play it and activate it turn 1. That could be a turn 1 Natural Order, although we wouldn't have a creature to sack. So it can be a turn 2 Natural Order or sneak attack, basically, which is still incredible. Obviously, Black Lotus is the best card in the cube for literally any deck. Shove it in there and see what we get. Pick number 2. Some more dual lands. There's also Tireless Tracker, which is really good value, giving us a clue token every time we play a land. So this is a good one. Like, we could play it and then play and crack a fetch before we cast Natural Order. That way we still got value out of it, even if we sacked it to something. I don't mind Tireless Tracker, but dual lands are also going to be pretty high picks. Green seems to be pretty open, so it's possible it wheels. I'm going to grab the dual. Ramanap Excavator is incredibly rude with Wasteland. The other options here are good fixing like Starting Town or Speculative Show and Tell. Although I really even when you have really good stuff, to cheat out with Show and Tell, it is a very, very risky card in Cube because there are many archetypes that are about cheating really big, good cards into play. Artifact decks could be running 7 and 9 mana artifact finishers. Reanimator decks are running giant finishers. If you play against any of those decks to where I put out an Avatar Kyoshi and then they just put out the big Archon or whatever that makes me sack a creature, discard a card, and lose some life, I am losing that game so hard. So Show and Tell has some major risk to it. I'll take the Excavator here. Fingers crossed we get a Strip Mine. If we get Strip Mine and Wasteland with the Excavator, that would be incredible. Pick 4, Birds of Paradise, easily. Wonderful fixing, wonderful ramp, and a great creature to sacrifice to Natural Order. What if our opponent... I want to have one game where our opponent plays a Triome, and then we go Black Lotus, Excavator, Wasteland the Triome. That's the dream. That's such a very specific, collection of cards together that it's probably not going to happen, but that would be awesome. Pick number 5, Boseiju gives us a naturalize effect. We could take another card to sneak attack in, but neither of them are green creatures for natural order. We are really, really looking for creatures that we could sneak or order in over anything, so I think I don't want to take these. If we took a channel, I could probably take one of these, because then they're channelable creatures. Or there's Bristly Bill, which is like okay by himself. He has one or two good combos, the main one being with Nadu. He's pretty busted. I think I'd rather just take Boseiju. I don't think I'm like splashing in a Nadu if we find one. Green-red fetchland, awesome with the Ramanap Excavator as well as the Lotus Cobra. Just good fixing in the first place. Utopia Sprawl is excellent early ramp. It doesn't technically give us a creature, but it is a really, really good early ramp card. It's competing with Renin 6, which is really good with our fetch and our Wasteland. This is pretty fierce competition. Utopia Sprawl is an excellent, excellent card. It's fast mana, but fetch and Wasteland. Let's do some Renin 6 nonsense and really, I mean, pack 3, pick 1, I would absolutely just scoop up Strip Mine over anything. I would take Strip Mine over a Mox. I probably shouldn't, but with Renin 6 and the Ramanap Excavator, I'm so tempted to have a Wasteland Strip Mine deck if we can get there. We are not going to have enough creatures to actually make good use of Gaia's Cradle. I feel like 6 is just like better. It's a good value play. It's another somewhat early creature to sack. I could still go for the Cradle because like if it ever pops off, it's gonna be really good, but it's not looking likely here. If I get like 3 more 1-mana dorks, we could do it, but it's unlikely. Speculative pick there, probably not making the cut, but a man can dream. Pick 9, Bossing Say is another gross combo with Wasteland. You obviously can't do it till later in the game, but you can Earthbend your Wasteland and then sack it and blow up one of their lands, and then your Wasteland comes right back to the board. You just keep spamming that every turn. And it doesn't even cost you your land drop to do it. Like when you're Ramanapping or Crucibling your Wasteland. It just costs you mana instead. We've got that one black removal spell. So yeah, take the black duel. Green Sun Zenith, 2 mana grab a Birds of Paradise is still fine, I guess. Micah Spawn's good ramp. Or a Boroid just for raw stats on the board if we want to just curve out with creatures normally, but that's not exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm just going to grab Green Sun Zenith. We did wheel the Bill and the Questing Druid for more filler creatures to sack. Last pick, Utopia Sprawl. We truly are the only green player, I guess. And now we got Woodfall Primus, Badger Mole Cub. That is a very difficult choice. I think the way this draft has gone, the fact that we haven't seen a lot of good high mana value creatures for natural order, I think there are definitely people drafting like Reanimator decks that will scoop up this Primus and we will not wheel it. So I think I have to take the Primus because I really need more natural order targets badly if I want to play that card. The problem with taking the Primus here is that Badger Mole Cub is also really, really good with Wasteland and with fetch lands and stuff, and that's another aspect of the deck that sounds enjoyable to me, and it's also incredible with the Birds of Paradise. So a little bit sad to have to choose between those two there, but between the two, the way the draft has gone, we have to take the natural orderable target, I think. Pack 3, pick 2. We can Mana Vault for a little surge in mana towards an early sneak attack. I hopefully have enough of that going on, especially if I take another Mana Dork to just focus on that. So here's a Fanatic of Veronis here. Okay. This doesn't look like anything we're interested in. Probably Pyrogoyf. Just take a really solid creature, mid-rangey. Blow some up when it comes into play. That makes sense. I'm splashing a tiny bit of black, maybe. So Dread Knight's also somewhat reasonable, but I'd rather just grab Pyrogoyf there, I think. A couple of red removal spells we could cast for free, like Pyrokinesis and Mind Collapse, but neither are exciting. Just take a Scrap Shooter. for another green creature. Seems pretty filler. You definitely don't want to be gifting cards in Cube. Unless their artifact enchantment's absolutely incredible. Yeah, I'll just grab the removal. Mind Collapse. Pick 5, Noble Hierarch. Splash in the Nadu, and then we have Nadu Bristly Bill combo, which is kind of fun. There's also the Endurance against Reanimator decks. You could flash this in with Evoke for free and stop them from reanimating. That Hierarch with the natural order is pretty sick, though. I've only got the 2 natural orderable targets still, though. We only have 3 more chances to get one. We really want a 3rd. I'm gonna take the Hierarch anyway. It's good without natural order to just cheese things out early. Okay, we never saw Strip Mine in this pod. So we're not going to have like Wasteland and Strip Mine with Crucible, so I will pass up on Crucible to take Vaultborn Tyrant and lock in my 3rd natural orderable target to make that guaranteed consistent. Now we get a Commercial District or a Boomy. So just a bunch of power onto the board, or really get our fixing in check. I'm just going to get our fixing in check. I think that now we're at the point having triple natural order targets. We have natural order and sneak attack. Like, we're finishing with those cards. We don't need mid-range finishers. But we do need consistent mana. Got the Badger Mole Cub, and now we have even more mana dorks for this card. Yep. Pick 10, take Scythe Cat Club. If I take this Scythe Cat Club, then we have the chance of wheeling that Nadu and splashing it in. And then I have 2 different cards that go absolutely absurd with Nadu. Landfall, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control with Nadu. Makes it so if there's a land on top of your deck, you put it into play, you target one of your creatures to get the Nadu trigger, then you reveal a land on top, you put it into play, put a counter on one of your creatures. Like, if you hit a land chunk with a Nadu upcoming, it could be really good. I don't think I'm going to splash black for the removal, so I'm not going to take Dread Knight. I'm going to take Thundering Falls, because I believe Nadu was a pack or 2 from here. If nobody wants Nadu in this pod. But I might have miscounted. And we lost our opportunity and shouldn't have taken that. I don't know. We'll see. Or I guess we won't see if the Nadu doesn't wheel. There's the Endurance for sure. All right. The Nadu did not wheel. That's for sure at that point. So blue-red land was not worth it in the end. Okay. Still got some really reasonable cards in the end. This is going to be a very different deck. Another completely non-blue deck. I guess that's the benefit of Nadu not wheeling. Actually be different colors here. I don't think we really care about Golos. This looks fun. This is the kind of deck that when I first started playing, I was like really, really into. Obviously, I made worse versions of this because I didn't know what I was doing. But like, if I drafted the Powered Cube back in like 2014, 2015, I would just jam this kind of deck every time, instead of now where I end up in a lot of blue artifacty stuff, some control-y stuff. Green Sun's that got a lot better here. Now we have 3 different mana dorks we can pick up at 2 mana. That's wonderful. There's got to be Dryad Arbor in this cube, right? Sad we didn't find a Dryad Arbor. That could have been pretty sick. I think we cut the Tear, and we don't do any splashing of any other color. Seismic Sense is also super filler. Crucible, not great. Crucible on a stick, a little better. Because we can actually like play this and block in our average game of Magic. It still does something. Not something great, but it still does something in games where we're not trying to Wasteland loop. Versus like, if we draw a Crucible without drawing a fetch or a Wasteland, this is a complete dead draw. It's a full mulligan. Even if this is like a really bad rate without replaying lands from your grave with 3 mana 2/3 with no text, That is still better than nothing if we're like against Boros and we just need to trade into some cheap creature. We could maybe cut both, but I don't think I'm going to because I'm too tempted to try to get that kind of nonsense going. So let's go ahead and drop all these cards. Do we have enough cheap creatures to run Gaia's Cradle in this deck? I mean, I only have to have one creature on board to not get punished. If I have one creature on board, this is my forest. And if we get two on board, that's already where you're like Ancient Tombing it up. You're surging up in mana. I'm gonna run it. I might cut one land here. We might have enough mana dorks to do so. Although having a backup plan of hard casting some of this stuff later off of all of our mana ramp is kind of nice. But we can still kind of do that with one less land, especially when we got like a Lotus too. 4 1-mana ramp cards. I think this deck can cut one land. Let's first and foremost definitely cut Falls and Theater. The off-color Triome. Okay, and then drop down to 16 lands with all these mana dorks and a Lotus. One final cut. You could just go like very little interaction and cut the Mind Collapse. Could cut the Tireless Tracker for maybe being a little slow, a little mid-rangey. Maybe the Questing Druid as well doesn't make a ton of sense in here. The Seek the Beast part of this is pretty bad, I think, in this deck. Because then we just could exile one of our big targets, and it's like, well, what are we doing? What are we doing, Questing Druid? Yeah, I'm going to drop the Druid. Then I'm tempted, because I am trying to still run the Cradle, to maybe cut Mind Collapse for just another creature at this point. Relying on, what, Lightning Bolt. Pyroglyph as the only interaction. There's not a lot of interaction here if we don't run this Mind Collapse. That's still maybe kind of a hard sell to cut it. But I do want to put another creature back in if I can. The Cub or the Bill. Which of these is better by itself? So this is a Trampler immediately. And if you do a fetch land, which we only have one to be fair, but if you do use a fetch land, you double the counters, whereas Bill, you have to spend a bunch of mana to double the counters and doesn't have trample. I feel like the Cub is probably a little bit better for us. I can't see us like ever dumping the extra 5 into that. So this is basically just Bill with trample. I really don't want to cut any of these non-creature spells except maybe Mind Collapse, and I don't want to lower myself on removal. So I'm like trying to add another creature without cutting a non-creature spell, which is impossible. Yeah, I guess I just cut one of our mid-rangey creatures. So we still have Bossing Say plus Wasteland. We have Renin 6 plus Wasteland. Badger Mole Cub plus Wasteland is one little surge. We can probably not do the Excavator thing. We'll cut Excavator as the worst of our mid-rangey creatures to keep the Mind Collapse. Call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, see how far this one can take us. Okay. Sneak Attack Avatar Kyoshi is the plan here. We're on the draw, we'll keep it though. Gotta turn 1 birds and see if it sticks around. They do fetch for a Boros source, so probably not. Played an Esper Sentinel. We draw a Natural Order as well. We have the Sneak and the Order. You should be reasonably strong against Boros, considering you really have like 2 counter spells in that color pair. Mana Tithe and Remand. Or Reprieve, I guess, is what the white version is called. There's Skull Clamp. You can just Skull Clamp the Sentinel, draw some cards here, and they're going to go for it, get some value. They see Forest Birds of Paradise, so fair enough. They're like, oh, you're not going to play a lot of non-creature spells anytime soon, but Joke's on them. I actually am. So I have 3 mana up if I play Cradle here, which is still not enough to play anything else. So I kind of want to just Commercial District here, get ready to Sneak Attack or Natural Order next turn instead of playing Cradle. I mean, I could play Cradle Ren in 6, but let's get the tap line out of the way. Pyrogoyf is the top deck. That's a pretty decent draw. I'm just going to keep it. Ooh, they're playing black as well, so they're not just Boros aggro. Could be like Mardu value. I don't know. Red, white, black, good cards. Yep, Lingering Souls plays really well with Skull Clamp. So what do I do here? What are my natural order targets? I have Woodfall Primus that could blow up a land. Vaultborn Tyrant to draw a bunch of cards. Tyrant or Primus I could hit here. 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. Still have 2 mana up for something else. Or I just Kyoshi Earthbend, have a permanent 8/8. I kind of want to blow up a land here. Feels pretty dang good. We can Ren and 6 away one of the flyers too. Alright, they still don't have the black mana for the Lingering Souls here. They do clear out the Ren and 6, which is fine. Scythecat Cub is the draw. I mean, this is just sneak the Kyoshi out, is it not? Earthbend 8, then untap that land too? Jesus. I could Earthbend the Cradle just to untap it and have another 4, but imagine I'm attacking with whatever I Earthbend anyway. I think because I'm attacking with the land, I just picked the not that. They're at 2 life, and then Pyrogoyf finishes them off. Parallax Wave's a very good one here. That will fog us off. Because it can exile all of our creatures by removing fading counters. But Pyrogoyf still just kills them on the enter the battlefield ability, so we'll be fine. I think even if they exile it, right? I believe even if they exile it, it still has its enter trigger. Let's see. GG from opponent. We'll GG back, and then we'll see if this works. It does work, yeah. Alright, that is 1-0. Heading into game number 2. That was just the dream hand. I mean, sneak attack and natural order to be able to cheat out all the big green fatties. Fun stuff. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 2. This is not keepable. Cradle doesn't give us green unless we have a creature on board. So it's 2 red sources with 2 green creatures. We can't get the Cradle going. Yeah, we have to mulligan. This is a better hand anyway, even if the Cradle was active, because we have one of the most important cards, the Sneak Attack, this time around. 2 mana dorks, we ditch a land and cross our fingers a bit here. actually lead with Noble Hierarch, I guess, because I'm just adding green right now anyway, so at least this one can attack. If I don't draw anything immediately castable, we'll just play Birds of Paradise and actually poke them for one here. Red and 6 is immediately castable, and it's a good one here. So Foothills for the red source, play Red and 6 and Birds of Paradise, pick up the Foothills. I was going to say, I thought we got a Taiga in here. We certainly did. Beautiful. They're probably going to kill one of our mana dorks. Tithe works. Basically just removal spell on a mana dork. That's fine by me. Obviously, it'd be better if it didn't happen, because then we could actually sneak attack and prime us out next turn. But better that than have the sneak attack itself get tithed. I kind of want to wait on sneak attack, because if I play it now, I give them a turn to have like destroy target non-land permanent on the enchantment itself. The problem with waiting, though, to try to have 5 mana is, like, if they have removal anyway, they could just, like, throw a lightning bolt at one of our mana dorks, and then we still don't sneak attack the Primus out the turn after this anyway. Yeah. Both plays have their flaws. I think I'm gonna Surveil and play a Llanowar Elves here. If I keep that forest, they'd have to kill both mana dorks to stop the sneak attack, but then also if they don't stop the sneak attack, then I'm flooding. We'll mill that. Alright, we've got the 5 mana to play and activate sneak attack next turn if they don't kill a mana dork. And that way we get an activation out of it even if they immediately have removal for sneak attack. They do have Flame Slash for a dork. So now we don't activate sneak attack next turn unless we hit another land, which we did. Could have Reprieve here to hold it off for a turn. Here we go, sneak attack out the Primus. That blows up 2 of their lands and permanently keeps a 5/5 trample. Unholy Heat the Elves, sure. Sacking the end step, blow up the Verge. They've got 1 land and a Dream now. Lotus Cobra's the draw. We'll just hard cast that. Since sneaking it gets nowhere near lethal anyway. Lorna the Third Path. They can blow up the sneak attack now, but it's essentially already killed them since it did sneak a thing in. No, maybe not. If we flood from here and then they find a way to blow up Primus, they got 1 more turn to find an out here. There's the black source go to 1. Booster Tutor trying to find removal. I like the play. Leave it up to the gods of the cube booster pack. Will they find a castable removal spell out of those 15 cards? Has to be a red or a white removal spell. Basically has to be a white removal spell because all the red removal spells that would be castable here would deal 4 damage or less on average. Like Fury, Flame Slash, all that kind of stuff. So they need to find like an Oust or Swords to Plowshares, or there's a lot of white removal that could do it here. They can't find something off color because Booster Tutor puts the exact card in. They spin the wheel again with Urza's Bauble. They're going to draw one final card, and if it is like Swords to Plowshares off the top of their deck, they're still in this game, and otherwise they are dead. They did not find the removal. That is 2-0. 2 big cheaty face games there, getting some massive creatures out for way below their casting cost. Here we are on the play for game number 3. There's no red source in this hand. Still Goyf into Tracker. It's not doing a whole ton for a cube hand either, is it? No, I'm still gonna keep it. Just pretend we're just a green aggro deck. This is a reasonable hand for that. Beaumont Courier turn 1 from the red-based aggro. Scary stuff. Whenever we find the red source, Lightning Bolt should be really good in this matchup, though. Here's the world's saddest Goyf. 2 mana, 0-1. This is another pretty solid draw if we make it to 5 mana. Hello, hello, hello. In that case, do I save this for Primus? Have Cradle with 2 creatures on board for now? No, I think I just run out the Nissa now and start getting cards engraved for Tarmogoyf as well. They want to discard their whole hand to draw those 2 cards they can. And this is going to be juicing up Tarmogoyf and plopping Nissa down. And they're over it. Black Lotus .exe. Wow, that completely changed the fundamental makeup of that hand. Yeah, wow. That was just from a very average hand, just became absolutely absurd. Being able to bolt Nissa turn 3 there and juice up the Tarmogoyf at the same time. Absolutely filthy. And our opponent is completely over it. We're now 3-0 heading into game 4. Here we are on the draw for game number 4. Super solid opener. We keep that. Just play a million mana dorks, I guess. Watery Grave turn 1. Inquisition. Honestly, I don't even know what you pick here. Probably Llanowar Elves. Just take the turn 1 play and then we just drop a Triome and pass. Maybe they have a good 1 toughness card and they want to get rid of Renin 6. Okay, they are going to hit the Llanowar Elves. There's Wooded Foothills to go with that turn 2 Renin 6 now. It's a pretty good top deck. Goyf on top, we keep that. Goyf's already a 3-4. Yikes, okay. Ancestral Recall draw 3, so they have a bajillion cards. Goif's already a 4/5. Make Ronus tap for 4. If Ronus sticks around, I could go Ronus next turn Goif and then cast big stuff. This is assuming no interaction from a blue-black deck that just drew 3, though. Maybe the best play is to just grind out incremental value. Set up our card draw engine. Certainly harder for them to just blow up a Planeswalker here than blow up a Goif or a Fanatic that we run out. Wan Shi Tong, the anti-shuffle card. Gross. That's a good card to have there. Wan Shi Tong being anti-fetch in this cube is pretty gnarly. Alright, Birds and Fanatic. Setting up for a big Zenith, maybe. One, two, three, four. 4 mana from that, but I have to spend 2 on Goith. Well, never mind. Duress the Zenith. And there's the Lotus. Zenith would have been so big now. That's super disappointing. Utopia Sprawl. Goif for the 4 mana Fanatic. Pick up the card draw. Draw a card plus Utopia Sprawl. Oh, I had to tap it in the reverse order. God dang it. That's fine. Obviously not ideal. But not the end of the world. I needed to tap before I got rid of the land for Tarmogoyf there. The One Ring, this deck is... I thought our deck was good. This is gross. The matchup's really good too, having the Wan Shi Tong against the fetch looping with Ren and 6. To where I can't even play this Foothills again. Bad draw. Cycle Triome. There we go. Kill a Wan Shi Tong. Kill a Wan Shi Tong. And I can Wooded Foothills again. Thin lands out here. We've got very few lands left. That's nice. That was looking at the basics only, but still. Forgot about the One Ring thing, but I don't think it really matters if Tarmogoyf is tapped here, so that's not a huge bump. Yeah, I've got a few more. Actually, I have quite a few non-basics. I've got 5 non-basics, so we have like 8 lands left still. Pretty average land draws numerically overall. Psychic Frog is gnarly. Vaultborn Tyrant. It's pretty good if they can't counter it. Suppose in case they have a counter, unless I pay whatever, we just run out the Lotus first, and then we run out the Tyrant with as much mana up as possible. for a counter unless we pay X. Okay, it resolves. Surprising. And then we hit a mountain. Tarmogoyf for Cecil here. We're... They would rather discard like 5 cards here than lose Cecil? Maybe their hand is really bad. Like it's possible. They changed their mind. They do just go for the Cecil trade. One Ring has drawn 6 cards total now. I mean, if they weren't already way ahead on cards from that recall early, the One Ring has been obviously like it always is. A draw 6. Next turn it'll have been like a draw 9. Or actually, no, they'll have drawn 10 cards off the One Ring by next turn. Because 1, then 2, then 3, that's 6. Add another 4 to it, 10 total cards. Gotta love the 6 for 1, One Ring. Force of Negation. Okay. What they get off the booster tutor. So you can counter any non-creatures that we draw. So we won't be able to natural order, but if we draw a sneak attack, it doesn't do anything anyway, so... Most of our good draws are already just creatures. But they have blanked our natural order now. Alright, they're gonna get the draw for the Psychic Frog. Unless I chump with birds, actually. Birds isn't doing anything, like, because I can't even resolve a natural order, so realistically, all this birds is going to do is trump something bigger later. I don't mind just stopping them from drawing a card right now. I don't really think we have a lot of cards in this deck that are going to make that Birds of Paradise get any bigger. Another land for us, unfortunately. It's going to be rough if they can exile or shuffle in the Tyrant. If they blow it up, like if they destroy it, that's okay, because we get the copy. But if they can deal with it without technically destroying it, we'll be pretty sad. That makes us pretty sad too. Tap all of our creatures and they draw a card. Yep. We can get our 4 mana for nothing. Alright, another 4 cards from the One Ring. They've officially drawn 10 cards off that one spell. Here's where Terra Sunder would come in handy even without splashing the black. It can exile a One Ring. Draw 3 now. Man, they're just gonna draw their whole deck. Good lord. Treasure Cruise, just another Ancestral Recall. Our only out here is that they severely misplay at this point. Maybe somehow accidentally kill themselves with the One Ring. So we just kind of sit here and watch them play until we die, basically. They can discard enough cards to 2-shot us with this frog. That might be their plan now. There's no way they don't have interaction for Tyrant up next turn, which means all they need to do is just stop Tyrant from hitting them, and then they'll be at enough life that the One Ring doesn't kill them, and then they kill us with Frog next turn. They have like infinite cards in their grave to get it flying, so holding up blockers wouldn't do anything. Not that we even had the option last turn, because Cryptic. But holding up blockers this turn is not the play. Caracas. No legends on our boards, that's fine. This only does legendary creatures, correct? Yes. Cannot bounce the One Ring, thank goodness. The draw is a legendary creature. Very funny. I can't cast this. Oh, it has hexproof. I'm dumb. This has hexproof anyway. I can't activate this and activate Ridgeline without tapping the Fanatic too. So we'll force them to spend mana on a counterspell, and then maybe somehow it'll be expensive enough that they then won't have removal for Tyrant. So they tried to mana leak, but we still have a bajillion mana, although that taxes us enough that if they tax us again, I can't activate Ridgeline. Gain 3 and draw a card. All we have to do is hit them for 6, and they're dead. And Kyoshi's Earthbending 8. So if Tyrant hits them, or if the Earthbent land hits them, we've got this. Nissa is the draw. I don't think we play Nissa, because Nissa doesn't have immediate impact on the board. Well, I guess we could play Nissa and try to minus her. That can't be better than just activating Ridgeline, can it? I don't think so. Well, a Nissa plus is more Tyrant life gain. But I'm at 13, so even if I gain off Tyrant again, I'll be at 16. They have 10 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have the 6 to hit for 16. Especially if they survive the One Ring, then they can draw a million more. Yeah, we definitely die even if we gain again. So I think we're activating Ridgeline over using Nissa here. Can they stop all these creatures? They just have to stop Tyrant and Mountain. Mystic Confluence to bounce all 3. You got me. Dang. To be expected. I mean, they drew like their entire deck. So again, the odds of them not having a way to stop that were astronomically low, but we had to try. All right. That's gonna do it. That'll be 3-1, ending the win streak here. Just against a blue-black deck with a great hand here. Early Ancestral Recall into an early One Ring is devastating. And that is 3-1 heading into game number 5. Here we are on the play for whatever game this is. Game number 5, we got Taiga Utopia Sprawl. If opponent goes Strip Mine on our Taiga or Wasteland on our Taiga, I will cry. Well, this is certainly a start. We get to play Scythe Cat Club and then go Wooded Foothills. Ragavan, hello there. I'm gonna pray. They can't break through a 4/4, because that's fun. Actually, it's gonna be bigger than that, because if it triggers twice, it does extra, right? Endurance looks reasonable against Boros, just thick. It is not bigger than that. Oh, double the counters on that creature instead? Okay, so since it only had one, doubling one is just adding one more anyway. No, Ragavan got us. They get a treasure, and they get our endurance. Well, we got Pyrogoyf on the Ragavan, which is... that's better than just green sunning. Booper Ragavan, don't have to deal with it. They're Jeskai, by the way, blue, white, and red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can green sun for a 4-drop? Okay, we can just show and tell Atali out. Atali versus Atraxa. A Time Twister? Hold the phone. Yeah. Because I'm going to have a lot of mana to cast cards off this Time Twister, and then now they're just going to have to discard a bunch to their Atraxa, because they already have 7. Oh god, unless they have Moxes in their deck. So they get to play a Mox. Ooh, a Dak Fade into... I mean, I guess I don't have Moxes for them to steal with Dak. We got a Cradle. This is not the greatest Time Twister hand, actually. It's a lot of lands. The Nissa could be gnarly, though. Okay, so they go Mox, Caracas. Caracas Atali would not work how they want it to here. Yes! Yeah, baby! Atraxa, because of the lifelink, is probably still going to get us, but now we just get to replay an Atali and get those triggers again. Unless they drew Force of Will. Okay, Furying the Llanowar Elves is going to make that significantly harder. Well, Furying both our creatures. Yeah, that's rough. Fury probably seals it, because now we have no creatures for the Cradle. God dang it. Nissa doesn't make reach creatures, so... just the birds as a trumper is all I've got then. Birds. Fanatic. Cradle for 3 mana, which still doesn't play anything. So just hold up the Boseiju ability. I don't want to actually crack Foothills here, because if somehow the game goes long, I could Bossing say Foothills. Just play the Bossing say, hold up Boseiju and pass. You can poke me for 7. So we need this mana. They still gain their 7 no matter what. They redrew Prismatic Ending too. And Ragavan. Just hit the same hand. They've got no more lives for counter unless we pay 3 on anything we try to do now. And it's just lands. Yeah, I mean, we got show and tell it tracks. We are dead, no matter what, to the no more lies there. And that is 3-2, heading into game 6. All right, here we are on the draw for game number 6. This is a very land combo we hand with Cub and Red and 6 alongside this Wasteland. I do not think we can afford to Wasteland turn 1 against Boros, because then they could just play another 1-drop and they're steamrolling us. I think we need to wait till Cub gives us that surge in mana. Yeah, we need to like Zenith into Mana Dorks and stuff first, and then start Wastelanding. And just Ren and 6 to kill a 1 toughness card could end up being okay too. I believe I Zenith first over Badgermole Cub. This Badgermole Cub on turn 3 could be better, especially if a Mana Dork manages to stick around. They either buff the figure, kill the birds, or they have a flash creature. A secret third option. No flage, please. That's even worse. Wow. Just kind of the perfect draw against us. I think Cub kill their Verge is the best plan that we have against this board right now. Like, I could play a single 3-2 and pass. That's just not good. They do still have land for turn, unfortunately. But they're certainly farther from Hellkite this way. And a Demi can just keep jumping into the sky, so none of our blockers really do anything against it. Ranger Captain of Eos. Grab a 1-drop. 30-bit Inspector. Oh my god, we got 1 turn of breathing room. They pass through, which means Ren and 6 can now blow up Figure of Destiny and maybe soak up some damage here. Getting them to attack Ren and 6 instead of our face. To buy a tiny, tiny bit of time. A Demi into the sky. They attack us with all. I think we're pretty dead. Because I take 6, go to 5, or I chump a 3 damage creature. Those are both really awful options. Unfortunately, they do send all 6 at us. Nissa costs 4 life to play if I play her next turn. So what's the line gonna be? Tracker, land, crack the clue. Take 6, go to 5. I'm at 5 against 3 damage in the sky. That's still not really gonna work. Am I more likely to live chumping 3 or having more blockers next turn? It's not likely either way. I feel like I have a better chance if I force them to keep dumping mana into a demi instead of losing Cub right now to not be able to trade off. I mean, we are just dead if they hit the Hellkite mana. But that's the same if I lose this blocker, right? Because I lose this blocker, I have a single blocker and they play Hellkite. And then, like, I block the 3/3, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 next turn. Yeah, I would be dead even if I did jump. If they hit that. Okay, I cannot play Nissa, so we play Tracker. Mountain. Draw one. I don't need to do a damage to their face. We'll just juice up Ren and 6 if we happen to survive. Are there any draws that I could cast? I could draw Black Lotus. But then there's nothing to play with the Black Lotus because everything else is mana here. So no. So we just wait. Oh wait, no, we have Mind Collapse. I do need to crack this right now because if we hit Mind Collapse, that is definitely relevance. And worth sacking the mountain for. That is not Mind Collapse. Alright. We are dead to a mountain. You got us. Boros do be Borosin. The Hellkite specifically was a brutal card for them to have here because it allowed them to kill our Mana Dork and like ball lightning us in the sky for another 4 in the same turn. If they had to spend the turn just killing the Mana Dork without playing a big threats, we might have had a little more time there, but rough. All right, 3 and 3 it is. Honestly, I think this is about as good as green-red decks can really get. I think we drafted a pretty strong one. This is just an archetype that's not particularly well positioned in the cube. I think green in general is the weakest color in the cube because when everybody's doing really explosive plays, you do need to have a lot of great interaction, and green is the worst color by far at interacting with whatever your opponent's doing. So a better build of this is probably a little bit deeper on red with a bit more of that red kind of burn. But I don't think there really is like a perfect green-red deck that is likely to trophy on average, just because there are so many matchups where this deck is not favored, such as, you know, it being a little bit slow, so it's not great against Boros, and then it's low on interaction, and if they have like a counterspell at the right time to stop one of these, they can really make it fall apart. So it's also not good against blue, which is like pretty much the best color in the cube. So there's a lot of matchups where it's not super favored, even if, like, I think we got a really consistent version of it here. Having Natural Order and Sneak Attack, plenty of early green Mana Dorks to sack to the order, and also to play the Sneak Attack early. 4 different targets for Sneak Attack, 3 for Natural Order, the Zenith for the Dorks. Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff about this deck was really, really consistent. It's just not... Again, it's just not a deck that has a lot of favorable matchups in the cube, sadly. But it was fun to play some different stuff here. Still a very cool deck. We still got to do some explosive things, but we also were on the receiving end of some explosive things, as you are in the cube. 3-3, it'll be an average run technically, but also the worst we have done, which is quite disappointing. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.